Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to Green Hawks RC. Now we're getting to that time of year again where it's dark, it's wet, it's cold outside. In fact, to be honest, it's been like that all year this year in the UK, but it's getting even worse. Unfortunately, Taylor and Mumu don't enjoy coming out very much this time of year, so I'm not able to get any runny footage recorded as they tend to refuse to get off their sofa. So I thought it'd be an ideal opportunity to have a little bit of a show and tell video of some of my own personal private collection. We're going to start off with the monster trucks, then we're going to go into the buggies. Following that, we're going to do the road and rally cars, and after that we'll probably do a little new in box one. So that's going to be a 4-part series. So just showing each of the models I've got and the stories behind them, how they come about, any history to them, what I've done to them, just show and tell, let you know the story behind them. So tonight's video, we're going to be starting with the monster trucks. So this is going to be part 1. So grab yourself a drink, get comfortable, and we'll go and get a few downstairs and we'll start to go through them. Tally-ho! So then, here we go. This is the start. This is where it all begun. This is my original Midnight Pumpkin. Any of you who watched the last video will remember this one from the intro. Got this in late 87, early 88. My very first hobby grade RC. Yeah, had a hell of a good time with this car. This introduced me to the hobby. Great fun. We really ragged the living daylights out of these things. And fond memories of smashing it up and waiting for Dad to get home from work and get him out in the garage and he'd repair it for me. Doesn't matter what I broke on it. Good old Dad always managed to repair it. There wasn't any damage I could do that Dad couldn't repair. It's quite surprising actually how much I learned without realising it. Just picking up, just watching him work on it in the garage. Obviously I was only 10 years old at the time. So this one, yeah, this was my very first car. I've got the re-release body on it at the moment. This is complete with the original V8 grille. We've got the original roll bar from 86 with the original decals, which are obviously different from the re-release. It is a reproduction shell. All I need now to get for this is the tailgate, the Ford stamp tailgate. So I done this shell when I reconditioned this car back in 2020 when I got back into the hobby. All original, as you can see, complete with my dad's marvellous bodges. I mean, look, you're not going to break them body posts, are you? Yeah, we've got all of these fixes in there. We've got the metal hubs he put in, the split rims, we've got the chassis repairs, the tie bars underneath which he repaired. There's all sorts of Dad's repairs on this. So servo fastener where they break out the chassis on the front there. This car means a lot to me. Like I say, this is where it all begun for me. Is the original body. You can see more of Dad's repairs underneath. Fiberglass and araldite and metal plates. This car had at least 3 or 4 colour schemes over its years. I mean, back in the 80s, you didn't buy new ones, you made do. I mean, I lost the whole front end at one stage. That totally broke off, so that's been totally replaced. But the old body, original body. I've also got for this one, courtesy of Craig over at the AG, he very kindly sent me a chrome edition one as well, which is way too nice to run, but this one stays on the shelf. Lovely body, thanks Craig. Go and check out OAG RC. So yeah, that's my first Midnight Pumpkin. We had a lot of fun for many years, from probably about 86 to about 1993 with the RC hobby. Come 93, I got to that age where I discovered raves, ecstasy, alcohol, and all that other good stuff. So yeah, I lost interest for the hobby then. I grew out of it. And this Midnight Pumpkin got put on the top of my wardrobe and it got left for 35 years. I moved house, moved into the house with my missus. Got put on the wardrobe once again and didn't think anything of the RC hobby for 35 years. And then, what was it, 2020, the start of the old con flu. Half the country in lockdown. I was still working because I work outside. But yeah, I was sitting at home, and at the time I was watching a lot of YouTube, mainly golf channels, and something made me type in Tamiya RC monster trucks into the YouTube search bar. And to my surprise, I found loads of RC content. I didn't even realise it was such a thing. I didn't even realise it's still going. So I stumbled across a channel that I'm sure you all know, Glenn from Tamiya Legends, and also Gavin at RC Kicks. And I started watching the videos, and I thought, hey, and it all come back. It all come back, especially the nostalgic videos, all the vintage stuff. I think then I found some chap called Pete Wiley, who you might all be familiar with, big up to Pete, and I saw him ragging lunchboxes across the New Forest, and I thought to myself, oh, this is awesome, it's still going again. So I thought to myself, why don't I get my Midnight Pumpkin rebuilt? So I had no idea you could still get parts, so I had no idea that it was even still going, the hobby. So I got onto eBay and started looking for parts, and to my shock I found that Tamiya were re-releasing loads of their vintage vehicles, and I couldn't believe it. So in no time I stripped the car down, ordered all the parts, rebuilt it, tried to keep it as original as I could, got it running again, and it wasn't supposed to be used, it was supposed to be a shelf queen. But once it was finished, I thought to myself, I better test that out. So I ordered a battery and a cheap remote off eBay. They arrived, I took it out for its first spin, and I had an absolute blast. It all come back, just that one battery pack, all the memories, all the fun, it all come back. So yeah, I went straight home, recharged the battery, went out again, done that 3 or 4 times, and come home with a massive grin on my face. So at that point, the hobby was back. So yeah, that's the Midnight Pumpkin. This is one car that I'll never sell. This has got a lot of sentimental value for me. Still gets run to this day. Still as original as possible. Yeah, this is the first one. This is where it started. So there you go. That's the first one. Right then, here we go. This is car number 2. So after having so much fun with my Midnight Pumpkin, after I restored it, I went back home, started flipping through YouTube again, and I discovered a channel called Mark Bryant RC. Big up the Mark, big up the Rob. Anyway, I flicked across, I found a video of Mark and Rob bashing their Monster Beetles. I do believe it was Mark's original Monster Beetle as well, that he had from back in the day. They were ragging the living daylights out of these Monster Beetles up and down a dusty slope, and I thought to myself, I've got to get a Monster Beetle. So, bearing in mind we're still in COVID times, it was still 2020, supply had dried right up. I got on eBay and I couldn't find a new re-release Monster Beetle kit for love nor money. In fact, I think the only kits that were available was the odd random grasshopper, a few of the lower end models, because I think everyone was at home and everyone was getting back into the hobby and everywhere was sold out. So I went, no problem, let's find myself a vintage Monster Beetle. So I started looking and I found this original 86 Monster Beetle. It had original box, original manual, still in good condition, which I do like to have the boxes for all my cars on display. So that was a bonus. The body looked pretty good. It looked all right. So I ordered it. I think I paid about 110 quid for it. And when it come, it was an absolute dog. It was a real wreck. The body was good. It was tatty, you know, it needed some touching up. There was a lot of scuffs in the paint, but it had all the wraparound window, which is exclusive to the original model, still intact. And other than that, it was an absolute basket case. I opened it out of the box. The tyres were split, the wheels were cracked, the bumper was broken, the motor had burnt out, there was no speed controller in it. The gearbox, I've never seen anything like it. There was full teeth missing out the cogs. You couldn't even turn the rear wheels. The diff was absolutely screwed. So I thought, fair enough, we'll rebuild it. Started taking it apart, and as I took it apart, every single component, and I'm not exaggerating, every time I removed a screw, another piece of plastic broke. All the plastic had totally degraded. The ABS was shot. So I ended up with a whole pile of broken, worn out bits on the worktop. The only parts I managed to salvage from this car were the original CVA shocks, which I rebuilt and they cleaned up nice. The body, which I done some touch up, and I sprayed it on the inside, done some touch up on the outside, that come up nice. And the original ABS framework. Other than that, I had to hunt everything down. So bearing in mind we're still in COVID times, there wasn't a huge amount of bits about, and what was about was going for high prices. So I started tracking down all the bits, managed to find some new wheels and tyres, managed to find all the new parts trees, all the new screw bags, because all the hardware had rusted and all the screws were wrong. Managed to track down an original period correct motor for it. Yeah, managed to get an original new impact manual speed control, and I started rebuilding it. So I done a full rebuild on this car. There's the body. I mean, it's pretty good. It's got a few scuffs and that, but painted it up inside, cleaned it all up. Obviously the original stickers, the BF Goodrich ones from back in the day. So it's a nice body shell, and I like it in the black. We've got the chassis, excuse me, all new plastic parts, fully serviced shocks, original manual speed control, an original period motor from back in the day. I done obviously fully bull raced it, and yeah, she turned out beautiful. So the problem with this one is I started adding up how much I spent on it, and by the time I totaled it all up, the cost of buying the car plus buying all the parts separately and paying postage on each item in eBay, I ended up, and the total cost of the rebuild, the restoration, come to over 300 quid. Now, those of you that know the Monster Beetle will know that you could buy a brand new Riri kit for about 180, so I totally done myself up there. But of course, like I say, at the time, you couldn't buy them. There was nothing coming into the country because of COVID. So I had a nice original Monster Beetle there. So I went and took it out for its first run, and the first turn I done, I rolled it, and I scuffed all the body and broke a body mount, which broke my heart. I put so much work into this car. So I thought, this one's going up on the shelf, and we're going to find ourselves a Riri as soon as the stocks come into place. So yeah, that is the second car I've done since getting back into the hobby. My original 86 Beetle, and I do like it in black. It really does work well with the gold wheels. So that's the second car. So then, after about 6 months or so, some new stock started coming into the country. The country got out of lockdown, I seem to remember, and I thought, I need a Monster Beetle to run. I don't want to wreck my OG, so I started looking on eBay, and I found someone was selling a new in-box kit. I put in a fairly reasonable bid one night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, after I drunk 3 or 4 very strong ciders, and totally forgot about it. 3 or 4 days later, I got to buy it now, come up on eBay. Brand new kit, 190 quid, ESC the lot. So I clicked buy it now, bought the kit. 2 days later, I get a notification from eBay saying, congratulations, you won this auction. And I won the other one as well. So I ended up with 2 Riri Monster Beetle kits. So I've now got 3 Monster Beetles. This is where it all starts going wrong, and I've got problems. So the first one I built, I thought to myself, that would be nice to put on the shelf next to the original one, especially as the original one's black. So I built this reissue, totally stock, totally standard, full box art, whacked it up on the shelf. Now, any normal person would have sold one of the other kits on, but me being me, I decided to keep them both. So I thought, yeah, that one would look nice next to the black one on the shelf. And that's totally stock, like I say. It's got radio gear in. All my cars have got radio gear, so if I do want to run them, I can run them. So I built that one up. And then I built the second one. Now, those of you who have been watching the channel know a while will know this one. This has been on many of our videos. This is featured on a lot of our content over the last couple of years. So this is my second reissue Monster Beetle, my runner. So anyway, the Monster Beetle is very problematic when it comes to the gearboxes. The metal plates warp, the various gears then move and start chewing themselves up. It's got problems with its drive shaft spitting out. It's got a lot of issues that need sorting out. So anyway, I knew I wanted a decent runner that I could drive properly, so that's going to be reliable and something that's going to be fast and fun. So the first thing I done was put a super stock BZ motor into it, which gave it a nice bit of nippy nipster. You can see that in there. That really increased the power dramatically. Unfortunately, in the first 6 months of driving this car with this motor in, I went through 3 gearboxes. And those of you that built these will know they're a fiddly old job having these gearboxes apart. You've got all the little posts you have to balance and sandwich everything together on. They're a real pain. I got so fed up with it, I bought an MIP ball diff. So they're pricey, but I think if you're going to run these cars, they're essential, to be honest. So the MIP ball diff done it a world of good. It improved the handling. I've had no more problems with crunchy, grindy gears. And it really made a lot of difference. So we're running this one on 2S, and it's quite pokey. It's quite pokey. I very soon found the extra power was giving me more height on the jumps. And common problem with these is where the trailing arms fully open up when you jump, the the UV joints pop out the rear, and they rip their way through the rubber gaiters, and you end up losing drive shafts. So on this one, I don't know if you can see on here, on the underneath of the chassis, just in there each side, I super glued a couple of nuts, which has limited the travel on the rear arms, on the trailing arms, which means the drive shafts now stay in place. It's also slightly lowered the rear end, which gives better handling. So I soon found the CVAs were absolute rubbish. They were way too soft. So I replaced the shocks with some aluminium bodies, slightly firmer shocks, which has definitely helped the performance on road at least. So we've got some soft oil in there, but some firmer springs. We then fitted headlights, front and rear. We fitted a roll cage to the back, and strengthened the body post mounts with a Meccano strip. And this car is my go-to runner. It is fun, it's strong, it's pretty quick, you can drive on any surface in any weather condition. It's my go-to car in all honesty, and it lasts, it behaves. It's got a lot of body damage over the years. You do have to regularly get out the super glue and start sticking things back on the body, but other than that, it's a reliable car now, and it's such a laugh to drive, and it handles well. So yeah, that's all 3 Monster Beetles. So let's go on to the next one, shall we? So here we go, and this next car is a very special car to me. Going back to 1986, 87, I had a Nikko Turbo Panther, little 1 in 16 scale frame buggy, and I'd seen a few Tamiyas. There was a lad called James Dodd down the road, and he had a Tamiya Fox, I seem to remember, around about that point. It didn't last long. It got run over by a real car, as far as I recall. But I'd also seen, I think a family member had a grasshopper, so I'd seen the grasshopper. But one day, myself and Paul were walking down the road, and we saw Meister in the local playgroup playground, and he had a brand new Blackfoot. It literally blew us away. We'd never seen anything like it. The sheer size of it. I mean, obviously we're like 10, 11 years old at this time. It was huge, and it was so fast, and it looked so cool. This was the first Tamiya monster truck that I'd ever seen, and this was what inspired me to get my original Midnight Pumpkin soon after. So Dazzy's Blackfoot, it was, like I say, we'd never seen anything like it. So of course I got to get a Blackfoot. I would love to get an original, but I ended up getting a Riri. After doing all them restorations, I decided to make life easy on myself. So this is my re-release Tamiya Blackfoot. Lovely car. It's one of my favourite monster trucks of all time. Nothing special on this, full box art. I did get the Ford logo for the rear tailgate. I'm not happy with the grille on the reissue. it's lost a lot of the character. I managed to get the Ford lettering for the end of the bonnet, but I'm still looking for an original grille, new in pack. I will pay good money for one of them if anyone's got one out there to make this special, make it look more like the original from '86. But it still looks nice. Obviously, I painted that up, done a nice paint job on that. I lacquered it. Chassis-wise, it's pretty much stock. Standard TBLEO2 speed control, although I did fit a Mark 1 Sports Tune black cam motor to this one, and I fitted an MIP ball diff. So this one is ready to go if I want to drive it. But in all honesty, obviously I've got the souped up Monster Beetle, which is the same chassis. That's good enough for me. Why bother going out and wrecking another one when you've got one that drives exactly the same anyway? This looks beautiful on the shelf. I'm really happy with this car. And it's an absolute icon, this one is. The Blackfoot's one of the nicest looking RC cars of all time as far as I'm concerned. So I love that thing. So that's my Blackfoot. That is simply a shelf queen. I do generally, I know a lot of people don't like shelf queens. There's a big and ah about shelf queens and runners, blah, blah, blah. I like both. I like to ensure that I've got shelf queen versions of every chassis and runners of every chassis. So I've got a runner of the ORV chassis, I've got shelf queens of the ORV. I've got a runner Porsche 959, I've got a shelf queen 959. Runner CW01, shelf queen CW1. So you get the best of both worlds that way. So yeah, that's my Blackfoot. I'd like to get some original decals if I can, as well as the original grille, just to finish that one off. But what a delightful looking car. I mean, that is beautiful, isn't it? It really is nice. So yeah, that's the Blackfoot. So of course, you can't have Monster Beetles and Blackfoots without getting the third one in the series from the late 80s, early 90s. So of course then I had to start looking for a mud blaster, didn't I? Yeah, it's a slippery slope, trust me. So, to complete my family of my trio of ORV monster trucks, I had to get a mud blaster. Now, these are quite a rare beast to find these days. They were never as popular as the Monster Beetle or the Blackfoot. They didn't sell as many units, and not a huge amount have survived to this day. So it took me a long time tracking down an old one on eBay that was complete with its original box in good condition and original manual. Because like I say, I've got boxes and manuals for every single model I've got. them all on display because I'm a bit of a nerd like that. So I eventually managed to find a mud blaster. Good condition box, instructions, blister pack still in it, everything I wanted. The mud blaster itself was an absolute wreck. It had a hard life. It really had been abused. It was similar to the original Monster Beetle in all honesty. Most of it was broken, but it had all the important parts I needed. It had the original metal speed control mount, which you can't see because it's under the case in there, but there's a metal plate that the speed control mounts on. That's part of the original cars that had that. The reissues of the Monster Beetle and Blackfoot didn't. It's also got the original hex drive cups. And the other way you can tell an original car, I don't know, you probably can't see that in there, but it's got the metal plate that goes above the servo saver. So it had all the parts I needed. And in all honesty, it was a very easy car to restore. What with the Blackfoot and the Monster Beetle getting reissued, all the chassis parts, wheels, tyres, everything readily available. So I pretty much built it back up from new. It's still got the original motor. All the rest of the parts, other than the main chassis, replacement parts, brand new. I've got a brand new manual speed controller in it, brand new shocks. All the plastic parts trees are new wheels and tyres, new bumper, new skid plate. Yeah, new gearbox plates. Built that up pretty much from scratch. And my plans were to get a Subaru Brat re-release body shell and MCI decals, but I wasn't happy with the quality of MCI decals. They're normally very good, but it didn't look right. And by chance I found an original Subaru Brat Mud Blaster body kit, full kit, for sale on eBay. absolutely absolutely criminal price. It was very high, but I had to have it. So I thought, I've got this far, let's go for it. Let's pay up and look big. So I spent over a whole week's rent on an original Mud Blaster body kit, which come with the body shell, all original decals, all the trim, everything I needed was in that. So I managed to build a brand new Mud Blaster body out of it. So that finished that car off an absolute treat. So that is the trio of the original ORV platform big wheelers complete. Now, of course, those of you that watched the last video will also know that I have recently got my old mate Polka's Mud Blaster, his very original one from back in the day. This is going to be a rebuild project for over the winter. I've not started it yet, but this one's going to be fully rebuilt, and this one's going to be rebuilt as a runner. So that's going to be a fun little project. I'm quite looking forward to get that one up and running again. Shouldn't take too much work, a little bit of elbow grease, a bit of a cleaning up, a few new parts, and we're good to go. So that is the ORV chassis family complete. So the collection is building. Like I say, it's a slippery slope. Now I know what everyone's saying. What's a Tamiya Monster truck collection without a lunchbox? Where's the lunchbox? So we've got to have a lunchbox in there, haven't we? This is one of our many lunchboxes we've got. Like I say, the Green Oaks channel ourselves have got a big fleet of these puppies. Most of them are beaten to hell because we do a lot of running with them. So we've got a lot of lunchboxes in the actual hobby shed, but this is my personal one for the collection. This is Project Tube Box that a lot of you might remember from back last year. We requested all the channels that I watch on a regular basis whether they could send us in stickers to build a YouTube community lunchbox. So this has got loads of extremely cool channels on it. We've done it in metallic green. The camera's not really bringing it out that well, but I loved how this turned out. This is beautiful. It's a lovely looking car. Big shout going out to all the channels featured on here. There's too many to mention. Body turned out really nice. So I'm really happy with that. Like I say, we've got 4 or 5 lunches that we run on the Green Oaks RC fleet over in Sailor's Hobby Shed. So this one stays simply as a shelf queen. I put a lot of work into that body. And obviously I've got my Midnight Pumpkin to run. So the actual chassis is totally stock. Got electronics in it, should we need them. But yeah, that is that's the lunchbox, Project Tube Box. I do want to do an original yellow chassis body for this vehicle. I think that'll look quite nice, an additional body for it, but I'm really pleased with how that one turned out. So that's the lunchbox. So then, there's one monster truck from that period that remains. The end of level baddie. This thing's so big, I'm finding it hard to get it in frame, to be honest. This is my heavily modified Tamiya Clodbuster. This thing is a beast. This one's got the nickname of the leg breaker. This is what this one's known as in our village. I had a little bit of a confrontation with a bit of a Karen up our local playing field when I was running this. I was quite happily playing away with my car up the park, and she turned up in her Range Rover with her 3 kids. And they come straight over to where I was running it and started kicking the football about. And then she had the audacity to shout at me that I was risking breaking her kids' legs with such a big, heavy vehicle. And she told me I was too old to be playing with toy cars. Cheek of it. Anyway, we're not going to go into that one. It got a little bit heated, to say the least. But our village is absolutely full of Karens. But I suppose the whole of the UK is, in all honesty, isn't it? But yeah, this is my leg breaker, the leg breaker. This is my original 1987 Clodbuster. Look at this bad boy. Now, I wanted a Clod for so long, especially when I was younger back in the day, and I couldn't afford it back in the 80s. So since getting back into the hobby, I bought myself a Super Clod kit. And I in all honesty, I thought it looked toy-like. I haven't built it yet, but the grill really put me off. The 4x4x4 grill and the cartoony stickers, and I didn't even build it. It's still upstairs in the new in-box kits collection. I wanted an original Clodbuster, complete with original bow tie grill and the original Chevrolet stamp on the rear. I wanted the original. So anyway, I got on eBay again. I tracked down this. Now, it didn't look like this when I got it. The body was in a bit of a mess, but the original grille was in good condition. It cleaned up. I repainted it, tidied that up, and that's come out really nice. Obviously, we've got working headlights in there from the original Tamiya bulb kit from back in the day. Yeah, rubbed all the body back, filled it, primed it, sprayed it. Now, I did buy a whole sheet of original New Impact decals, but I decided to do something different with this one. I'm normally a box art guy, but this one, I thought this is going to be a custom project. So, gunmetal grey, body turned out lovely. The chassis, on the other hand, was an absolute wreck. It was original plastic bathtub. The body posts had broken. The chassis was cracked in multiple places. The hubs literally fell to bits when I took the wheels off. The wheels themselves and the tyres are original. So what I managed to salvage off of this car was the differentials, front and rear, and the body. The body took a lot of work to bring it back to that level, but a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and it come out nice. I ended up with a whole load of wrecked parts once again. So I got online and I found this metal sassy chassis. I always struggle saying that. Now, a lot of you have been to the hobby a long time will remember these. These are quite old now and there's not many of them about. I picked this up for a reasonable price as a bare chassis, and I rubbed it all back, polished it up with a polisher, and it come up beautifully. It's like new. So once I had the chassis, I thought, well, let's make something special of this. Let's do a custom build on this one. So I've gone full hog on this. I picked up all carbon fibre mounting points all round, custom tie rods. I went for front and rear dual servo steering. So we've got steering on each axle. We've got 35 kg steering servos, alloy servo savers, carbon servo mounts. I went for alloy dampers, front and rear, and this thing weighs an absolute ton. It really is heavy. I'm surprised it hasn't gone through this glass table, in all honesty. Put the original plastic internal section in the chassis that come with the original kit. We put a modern TEU 106BK twin motor ESC in it off the Super Clod kit. We've got a twin servo splitter in there to run the two servos off the same receiver, and this thing is an absolute animal. It's not quick by any chance, but it's great fun. It will go anywhere. It's just a delight to drive. I mean, it is so heavy. I don't use it very much, but this is a runner, and this is one of the pride of my collection, this one. Like I say, the weight of it, you would not believe it. I wish I had some scales so I can show you all. So that is my custom Clod. The Super Clod will get built at some stage. I just need to trace an original Chevrolet grille front end for it, so I can make it look proper. I'm also going to remove the blue shocks and put red ones on it, and the original decal set that I got originally for this one, I'm going to use them on the re-release one on the Super Clod, and now I'm going to build that up as a runner. So yeah, I love this car. This is pride of the collection, this is, and that pretty much sums up my own personal Tamiya Monster truck collection. So I hope I didn't bore you all too much. Bit of a long video, but I thought, as we can't get out at the moment to run, Taylor doesn't want to record any running footage. I thought it'd be nice little video series to knock up in the cold winter nights. So hope you all enjoyed it. Hit us up in the comments, let us know which ones you've got, and let us know what video you want us to put out next. Obviously we've got the buggies to do, they'll be in a separate video. We've got the rally and road cars, got a few nice ones in there, and we've also got the new in-box collection. So yeah, have a little chat in the comments, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and thanks to all the new subscribers off the back of the last video. We've picked up a good 15-20 subs in the last couple of weeks, so welcome to the channel everyone, and hope you're all keeping well, and I'll see you all again soon. Green Ox RC signing out.